I got some new sexy corals, y'all, and I cannot wait to show you guys. So last weekend, I visited a local frag swap in my area, Texas Coral Fest. It's a really small show, but it is definitely my favorite to attend because guys, fire coral as far as the eye can see. So in today's video, going to show you guys what I picked up and also talk about my plans for future coral additions and big changes to my coral layout in my 220-gallon reef tank. If you're new here, hello, howdy, hi. My name is Stephanie and I make silly videos documenting my journey in the reef tank keeping hobby. So if you're also silly and like the reef tanks, make sure to smash that subscribe right now. So Texas Coral Fest is a local frag swap in my area, and the corals are absolute fire, like every single time. Reefers, you have some amazing corals. I love your SPS. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I have like a serious acro fever right now, and it's like all I can think about.
We could help with that.
Okay. The second I saw that Raising Reefs were at the show, I got pretty excited, not even gonna lie. I've seen his corals on his online shop and heard just amazing things about his acros. I mean, his coloration and the chonky frags put everything else to shame, honestly. I think I looked around his booth about 1,000,000 times. Like I just circled and kept coming back because the acros, just the thought of them could not go away, y'all. So I finally decided to take the jump. I told myself I wasn't going to add more corals until the Aptasia situation that we're dealing with right now was totally taken care of. But the Aptasia is definitely not as bad as it used to be, okay? And it's no longer sitting on my dedicated acro ledges. So that's how I kind of justified my decision. I just had to take the jump, y'all. I mean, look at these frags. Just look at them. How could you not? Honestly, just how could you not? Like seeing his corals was just far too tempting, y'all. And I am weak. Okay, I'm weak. So I finally settled on these guys. Look, y'all. Look at them acros, y'all. Tell me I made a bad choice. I mean, just try to. It's impossible. These things are so freaking hot. I was just super pumped the rest of the show, honestly. Before I actually left, I managed to meet one of my subscribers too. Shout out to Lily and Lily's dad. He told me how his little girl is my #1 fan and wants to become the princess of reef. Y'all, how cute is that? She just started up her first reef tank ever and my heart just melted. Like, how adorable is that? So the corals I ended up getting are an ASD rainbow, this RR snow cone, and this other Millie. I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's really pretty. And I love my millies, as you guys know. So really happy with these frags. If you look at them, they are some chunky guys. I mean, these are chunky little frags here. They are of good size and of good color. I ended up placing them on the ledges here on the right structure of my tank. My whole plan for the rest of these ledges on these structures is to have all just SPS. But I do have to move my torch here because it's kind of big, to say the least, and it's gonna shadow and slash sting any acros that I end up putting here. So I do plan to move this torch down where it is right now. I mean, place it in the same spot, but just move it away more, to the back of the tank so it doesn't sting anything and doesn't like shadow too much the corals near it. They're looking really fluffy and happy, which is great, and I love them so much. I'm so excited to start adding acros in my tank again. As you guys know, I added a bunch of acros to this tank back, I don't know, like a year ago, and it just went through a world of issues keeping them, and it was a bit of a learning curve, but I feel like my tank is way more established now and in a way better position to keep SPS. So I'm really excited for these guys to start growing out. I mean, this is like what I've been waiting for since I started this hobby. I am addicted to SPS. It's all I can think about. And I'm so excited that the tank is finally, shaping up to where I can keep them. Now, in terms of future corals and the overall coral layout, I just want to say that I'm super not happy with the way my tank looks right now. I just think it looks so messy. I mean, when I started this tank, I really envisioned this nice, clean sandbed look. I mean, I did not really envision any corals on the sandbed whatsoever. I mean, just a beautiful, clean, white sandbed, neat, tidy look is what I was going for. You know what I mean? And now I've accumulated a bunch of corals on the sandbed, and they're just all over the place. Like, it looks so messy to me. It looks so bad. And it really bothers me staring at my tank right now. It's just not the look that I want to go for. You know what I mean? My plan is to really do an overall haul, like an overall just reorganization of my sandbed. I don't know what exactly I'm going to do yet, but I do know there's a few things that I definitely want to move around. For example, these zoas here. These zoas have been sitting here for months. And why? Because they were covered in Aptasia. Like, they didn't even open since I moved my tank. These zoas have not been open. Finally, those Bergias that I added recently have been going to town, and the zoas are finally opening up. So also these zoas in the back here, my old zoa rock that I had from the 40-gallon tank that I moved over, covered, just absolutely ridden in Aptasia. It's starting to open up. The Bergias are taking care of things. So I do want to make a little zoa garden. Where exactly? I'm not sure, but I definitely want to make sure that it is as close to the main aquascape structures as possible, like right underneath those ledges somehow, just because I want it to look neat. Like, I want it to look like every coral comes out from these two structures. You know what I mean? Also want to move some other, I have just a bunch of random corals that look like junk, just like laying on the sandbed. So I want to pin this guy up on the scape somewhere, move this little green fellow behind the anemone rock. Now, my royal grandma actually lives inside of this coral. That's its little home. So I want to keep it together and still make sure that the royal grandma has its little home, but just kind of tuck it behind that anemone rock here, which, by the way, the anemone has finally settled into, which is good news, because it was really annoying me how much that anemone was like walking around my tank, just like wrecking havoc over everything. But it's finally settled in the rock like I intended it to, so it's being a good little anemone. And also behind that, I want to take these hammer colonies that I just have kind of like randomly laying in the sand bed, and I want to actually place them on top of some rock and kind of elevate them so they stick out behind the anemone rock so you can still see them, you know what I mean? But in that way, these corals are like clustered towards these rock structures, and they don't look so freaking random, just sitting in the sand bed, like just randomly placed. It just looks so messy. Like, it's not a look, y'all. It's not a look. Also, on that note, I do want to move over the rock flower anemones, the rock flower anemone rocks, move those towards the right aquascape structure next to the base as much as, reasonable, like I reasonably can do, because, I don't want those rock flowers migrating and ending up on the main aquascape. So somehow placing that rock closer and then moving this giant, I mean, it's absolutely enormous cluster of Duncans. Move the Duncans behind the right aquascape structure, like behind it, so it looks like the corals are like trailing off in the distance, and give it some depth, some oomph. My bubble coral. Now, I really dislike this bubble monster, to say the least, but it was the first coral I added into my reef aquarium, my first reef aquarium, and it's been with me for so many years now. I don't have the heart to get rid of it. So I do want to tuck this behind the right structure as much as possible as well. In the meat coral, unfortunately, I'm just kind of stuck with that on the sand bed, but I did have the idea. I had this idea, right? So I found these shelf rock pieces in my garage the other day, and I was thinking it would be kind of a cool idea to lay those down near the bases of the structures and put the sandbed corals that remain and that I can't really place on the aquascape on top of those to kind of make it look like more neat and make it look like an extension of the main aquascape, and maybe add some other pieces of rock to kind of create a transition between the main aquascape and these flat ledges. I don't know, it's just an idea I had. I think it would look kind of cool. Maybe that's where I would put my Zoa garden. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. There's definitely going to have to do some major work to the coral placement right now as it is, because I'm not happy, y'all. I'm just not happy looking at my tank. I want it to look neat. I want it to look, you know what I mean, just a little bit fresher, a little bit, and maybe add some new sand, because my sand sucks. It's so gross. So yeah, that's my plans for my coral layout moving forward. Definitely have to do a lot of work here, but it's gonna turn out good, I hope. And really had fun at Texas Coral Fest. Definitely check out Raising Reefs if you haven't already. Sonny is a hidden gem. Seriously, if you're looking for nice acros, nice corals, definitely check this guy out. He has an online website. I'm gonna link it in the bio. Highly recommend. His corals are super amazing, and he's just, like I said, a hidden gem. So definitely check him out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video here. Stay tuned next video for a totally different tank. After I go to work on this thing, it's gonna be a totally different tank, and I'm real excited for it. I'm here for it.